Good Friday morning, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Alan Fitz podcast, also known as The Chat. My name is Alan Fitz. I'm the host for the program this morning, and welcome into the show live from our studios right here in Amarillo, Texas. I'd like to start off this morning like I normally do and welcome in our three main listening audiences. Number one, those that agree with topics of interest here on the podcast and they talk about it out on social media out there and leave very positive remarks. Our number two listening audience is those that don't quite agree with just about everything we say, but they are positive in leaving positive criticism to us out there on different platforms across social media land. And of course, last but not least, the ones that we could care less about, the haters out there. These are the people that are just negative in life. They can't see the forest for the trees. And no matter how good you try to present something, they always try to find something wrong and negative with it. The old saying goes, little children will be seen, but not heard. Folks, when I began podcasting back in June of last year, 2025, we vowed that the Alan Fitz podcast would always be about, well, mainly positive uh, items of topics to discuss, if you will. But on this edition of the podcast, there is something that I felt like I needed to get out to the citizens of Amarillo and those of you that listen to the podcast across the country. So, this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, is not going to be positive at all, but rather negative, and it's going to expose a lot of true facts about a certain business here in Amarillo. And we're going to get started with this. I'm going to tell you the name of the business. It's called Take 5 Car Wash. And there's a couple of these straddled out across Amarillo, folks, if you will. But one in particular has come to light with a lot of people here in Amarillo, and it's also come to light with the Better Business Bureau, or AKA BBB, if you will, here in Amarillo. And I want to talk about some things that we have investigated, we have found to be true. A lot of people that we have talked to, a lot of people had very positive remarks about Take 5 Car Wash, but some of the reactions that we've got, and even reading some of the reactions that customers alike have left on the BBB's website here in Amarillo, are very, very disturbing. And I want to bring this situation to light for you listeners this morning. And folks, you can base your own opinion the way that you want to base it. That's one of the good things that we have about podcasting is not everybody agrees with the host. But in this case, I want you to listen to what we're going to present to you, because hopefully we can change your mind about ever going to any Take 5 Car Wash here in Amarillo or anywhere they are based out of ever again. Some people are listing this business as a sham. They're listing it as a fraud, and a lot of people are losing a lot of money that they cannot get back simply because they can't get a hold of anyone at the company. Now, before I start in on this topic this morning, I want everyone out there to listen to what I'm about to tell you, and it should bring up a solid red flag in your mind. Over a period of years, we have noticed a lot of businesses out there that have customer service, but the only way that you can communicate with these folks is through You guessed it, email. Now, for some apparent reason, they don't want to list their telephone numbers. They don't want to have interactions, voice over the phone with customers, complaints, and suggestions that customers may be wanting to do. And a lot of this got started many, many years ago when the United States businesses started hiring people from the Far East. And we all know where this came about. Walmart was one of the businesses that got started on that on their customer service lines because these people, basically, folks can come over here to this country and they pay them less money than they would a natural born United States citizen. And it seemed to have started from that point. And this should raise a red flag in your mind that when something goes wrong at a business, and I'm not saying that everybody out there is a tattletale and they want to rat off on somebody or things of that nature, but when problems do arise in corporate headquarters, needs to be contacted by the consumer. It's very, very frustrating when the only way that you can contact people is through email. And in the case of Take Five Car Wash, and I'll go ahead and start the program off with this statement, which is actually true. It took us a while to finally get someone on the phone to talk to them about some issues that we were hearing. We were the press. We wanted to talk to someone about it. And just as soon as they found out who I was, being in the media, okay, well, the only way that you can contact us is by email, and they hung the phone up. Folks, this is a very disparaging and disgusting way, in my opinion, that businesses should operate, especially when it comes to customer service. I think everybody out there will agree that when you call customer service, you want to talk to someone live on the phone. You don't want to have to go open your laptop, boot up your desktop, and go through all of that rigmarole just to send an email to someone with either your concerns or your complaints, only to come to find out they're not going to respond to your email at all. And this is a huge red flag that businesses are doing this simply because they do not want to communicate via the phone, via voice. They don't want to have to deal with anybody that's upset, maybe using profanity, lace words towards them or something like this. They strictly want to go by email to where they don't have to hear, I guess, what could be described as the customer's tone toward them. Email doesn't make any sound. So when we found out that Take Five Car Wash on on Georgia Avenue, corporate number was basically nothing more to call it is a recording that repeats itself over and over and over, but it talks about if you want to contact us, send an email, go to our webpage, and then we'll get back in contact with you. Well, what we are hearing across Amarillo, what we are reading on some of the BBB reviews, this is not good at all. As a matter of fact, both the Coulter Street location and the Georgia Street location have an F rating from the Better Business Bureau here in Amarillo. Now, let me start off by telling you exactly where this company is actually based out of, and then we'll kind of get more into what we know and how we found out that a big fraud was going on, especially over at the Georgia Street location. Take Five Car Wash, we've had to do some extensive investigating into this company. We found that they are presently located at 440 South Church Street, suite number 700, way out in Charlotte, North Carolina. Again, their address is 440 South Church Street, suite 700 in Charlotte, North Carolina. And the telephone number to that corporate location is 855 928 5585. Again, that's 855 928 5585. And when you call that number, you hear a gentleman on the line, and you can tell he's on a speakerphone, is talking about the company. And if you want to leave a message, to go to their website and send an email, and they'll get back with you within 48 hours. Now, the Better Business Bureau office that actually is over Take 5 Car Wash in Charlotte, North Carolina, is the BBB of Southern Piedmont in Western North Carolina, and they're located at 9719 Northeast Parkway, suite number 300 in Matthews, North Carolina. Again, that's 9719 Northeast Parkway, suite 300 in Matthews, North Carolina. And their telephone number is area code 704 927 8611. Again, that is 704 927 8611. So that is actually the Better Business Bureau that is directly over consumer complaints to Take 5 Car Wash in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, like I said before, the Better Business Bureau here in Amarillo locally has rated both the Western Street and the Coulter Street location with an F. F is in. And those locations are at 5810 Coulter Street and 2806 South Georgia Street. Again, the BBB in Amarillo rates them as an F, which is basically failure. Now, we talked to a representative of the Amarillo Better Business Bureau and got some additional information as to what was going on with why a car wash would have an F rating. Ladies and gentlemen, this is pathetic. A car wash generally would have an A+ rating because a lot of them, you go into, you stick your credit card in there, you tell it what kind of wash you want, and it's basically an unmanned station. Well, not at Take 5 Car Wash, and we're going to get in a little bit more about that as the podcast continues. But what the BBB locally here in Amarillo told us is that documented, and we have this in front of us here, 742 complaints have been lodged against Take 5 Car Wash just here in Amarillo proper. Now, there are complaints lodged at many locations, even as far south down in McKinney, Texas, out in the suburbs of Dallas, and out in North Carolina. But we're gonna concentrate it here on Amarillo because this is where the podcast takes place, and we want to let the good folks of Amarillo know what's going on with this. So, according to the BBB locally here in Amarillo, again, 742 complaints have been filed against this business since it opened in 2015. 22 of those complaints that have been filed against Take 5 Car Wash have not been resolved. And Take 5 Car Wash also has failed to respond to 42 complaints filed against the business. Now, what these complaints from what our investigation has uncovered, folks, is there was a vehicle locally here that was damaged um, in one of the and they like to call them showcases. Okay, a complaint was filed with the company itself. Of course, the company out there claimed that they ran an investigation, found no damage on this vehicle. And this is really for another show, another day, because this would eat up all the time. And I've got a lot of information to talk about. We are not certain at this point in time if that has ever been resolved with Take 5 Car Wash out in Charlotte, North Carolina. We will tell you that further investigation did reveal, and we're also looking at numerous complaints that have been filed with the Better Business Bureau locally here in Amarillo, that multiple charges have occurred on folks' credit cards. Now, in certain circumstances, and you can go to the BBB's page here in Amarillo, but basically all you do is very simple. You just type in bbb.org, and your search pattern, you would type in Amarillo and the name of this business, again, which is Take 5 Car Wash. And you can look at some of these awful, awful complaints that have been lodged against Take 5 Car Wash. And a lot of them stem from, unfortunately, credit card abuse. Now, when I'm talking about credit card abuse, is a lot of customers, the consumers that have used Take 5 Car Wash over a period of time, if not months and years at a time, have reported to the Better Business Bureau here in Amarillo that their credit cards have been charged multiple times in 1 month period, and things of that nature. And let's stop right there and let's talk about those charges. And then I'm going to have a very disturbing story to tell you. And we did confirm this information in our investigation of how one of the former managers was basically committing fraud against the company and giving away free product. And I'll tell you how Take 5 Car Wash operates in a normal sense. But and we will mention this gentleman's name and tell you what we found out in our investigation. So basically, there's several different charges that Take 5 Car Wash can charge a customer. And if you're on your computer right now and you want to follow along with me on this, feel free to simply go to take5carwashes.com, and that's the number 5, not FIVE. So it's www.take the number 5 carwashes, that's plural.com. Now, if you are on that page, and I'll give you a second to get there, when you get there, you will see basically what one of the Take 5 car washes looks like. You have, of course, the tunnel that the cars drive through, and you have the open air propylia of the vacuums that are used outside. But if you kind of scroll down about halfway down the page, you will see that they have 4 different pricing schedules for vehicles that go through the tunnel of the car wash. So let's take a look at their pricing schedule if you're on the web page with me. Now, they have something called the Wash, the Triple Clean, the Pro 5, and the Pro 5 Plus. Okay, now the Wash, and this is a monthly reoccurring charge. The Wash is basically $12, which is nothing more than a pre-soak, a shampoo wash, and a spot-free rinse. The Triple Clean includes Wash Plus, which is a tire soak, a tri-foam conditioner, and a rust preventative. and that is $18 a month. On the Pro 5, it includes the Triple Clean Wash Plus, which is a power foam wash, a wax protectant, a rain repellent, and a tire shine rather, that is powered by Amarillo. And then you have the most expensive wash, which is called the Pro 5 Plus, which includes the Pro 5 Wash Plus, which is everything the Pro 5 has. And they claim that they use what is called a ceramic shield that is powered by Amarillo. Now, and that is for $30 a month. And of course, there's tax added to each one of those, whether you pay the 30, the 24, the 18, or the 12. If you scroll down a little bit further, about 3/4 of the way down the page, you will notice some of the reviews that some customers have left. And it actually says, "Don't ask the birds. Here's what our neighbors have to say." And the first comment was taken out of a man by the name of Brandon out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Everyone was so nice. They were very quick. I had a superior service. We'll definitely go back. The other one, it says, "Feels like family. Great customer service from the gate all the way to the end. Definitely worth your money and time. They take care of you like family." And that was from Mercedes in Statesboro, Georgia. And we'll cover one more. It's called Go to Spot. Craig from Denver, Colorado said, "Everything you need is available: towels, window cleaner, interior cleaner, and all the vacuums are strong and in good working condition. Definitely my go-to spot for keeping my truck looking sharp." And again, that was put on there by they put that on there, assuming that was Craig from Denver, Colorado. Now, if you look at those reviews, ladies and gentlemen, you will see that all of those reviews are in positive nature. They're not saying anything about anything that the Better Business Bureau and customer complaints have come to them. And I guess naturally you wouldn't put something on there like that. But then again, it's kind of like they're hiding the fact that they have an F rating in the Amarillo community. So let me break down something to you. And this is an actual investigation that right before I was getting ready to record this podcast, I ran across this. And I took an extra day, a day late recording this episode of the podcast because I wanted to go deeper into detail with this to make sure that what I was about to say here on the podcast, of course, is dead accurate truth. Let's go back to the Take 5 car wash that is on Georgia Avenue. Again, that's 2806 South Georgia Street. There recently was a turnover of management folks at this location. And we have conflicting stories of exactly where this individual went when he actually left Take 5 Car Wash. But our investigation did uncover, we did find out some things that we would like to bring to light to you here on the chat. The manager at that location's name was Joe Rivera. Okay. Do not know who this individual is. We have talked to several of the workers that are remaining at this location. They've pretty much changed their entire staff, but there are a couple left that were under Joe's command, so to speak. And we found out something very, very disturbing. And because we're not able to talk to the corporate office out in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we have been in contact with the crime division at the Amarillo Police Department, and they have not been able to find any information on this yet. But this is very, very disturbing. Again, the man's name was Joe Rivera. During the time that Mr. Rivera was the manager at the Georgia Street location, and we have confirmed this information, Mr. Rivera came up with an alias name known as Mike Rivera. And basically, what he was doing, I don't know if these were just personal friends of his or he was trying to promote the business and bring business in with giving away free product. But Mr. Rivera had told, and we can't even get a number on this. I mean, it's basically impossible because we don't know who all he had talked to during his tenure as the manager there. But what we found out, what we investigated here on the podcast, and what we found to be true is Mike Rivera was a code name. There is no such person as Mike Rivera that we can locate. So the Mike Rivera name was given to these different customers that all they had to do was to pull up to what we call the picket shack. Okay, it's the booth that you pull up to, and this is where they scan your RFID sticker on your windshield, and we'll get into a little bit more about that if we have time on the chat. But it's a sticker that they put on your windshield, basically, that a sensor reads, and it tells them that you have paid for the month and what type of service or purchase plan that you ran through on the car wash. So if you paid the full $30 for the month, well, you get the works. If you only paid $12, they know that. And then when you get down to the tunnel on their computer screen, they know exactly what to punch in. Anyway, getting back to this Mike Rivera name. Mike Rivera was the code name that an individual would pull up to the booth in the front. They would give the name Mike Rivera and they would be passed through whether or not they had an RFID chip sticker on the windshield, and they would proceed into the tunnel of the washing mechanisms that wash the car. Some of the former staff, and yes, we were able to track them down, ladies and gentlemen, and they were very willing to talk to us because a lot of them were terminated from their job because they also had knowledge of this Mike Rivera. And basically, Joe Rivera told them to do this. So, from what we could find out, it was the Premium Plus package, okay, the Take 5 Plus, whatever we called it earlier. And it used to be set at $27. So basically, what was happening is all of these friends of this so-called Mike Rivera, which it really was, of course, the true Rivera, Joe, was letting these people pass through the picket booth, not taking payment from them, allowing them to go through the car wash tunnel, not paying for anything, which is basically giving away free product. Folks, it's basically theft is what it is. And it's not the consumer that is coming up there, especially if they don't know anything about it. Now, these people that were using the name Mike Rivera, yeah, it's also theft by association on their part because they know that they're getting free car washes, they're getting free product, and this, that, and the other. We were not able to ascertain how long that Joe Rivera had actually been doing this. But we were told, and we were able to about 95% verify that it was thousands and thousands of dollars of free product that cars were being allowed to go through that area just because they were using the name Mike Rivera. Ladies and gentlemen, this is sad. This is a disgusting situation. However, every bit of this is truth in part. Mr. Joe Rivera no longer works for Take 5 Car Wash, and new management has been implemented to see if they can stop what Joe Rivera actually started. Now, let me get to a little bit of what this RFID chip is. It's a radio frequency chip that is it put into a strip. They pull it off of a piece of paper and they apply it to your windshield. So if there's no actual person on duty in what we call again the picket shack, the sensor will pick up that chip strip that is on your windshield, and it will allow you to freely pass down to the tunnel where there is yet another operator. And 99% of the time, and we've actually gone through the car wash at least a half a dozen times, there's nobody there. They're generally sitting in the office on their butt, uh, playing on their cell phone or whatever they're doing. And they have to run out, look at their computer, which automatically tells them which plan you're on, and then they push a few buttons and on the way you go. So you go through this car wash tunnel, and when you get to the end of it, there's a very powerful blow dry system that is in place. And for the most part, it gets your car somewhat dry, but not completely dry like they claim, that Take 5 Car Wash claims that it will do. And then about half the time you go through it, when you get to the blow dry, you will see an individual that is standing outside. And this is basically adolescent teenagers. They do employ people of very young age at this car wash facility location. They will come out and for not mixing the words and to just tell it straight as a board, about half ass, if you will, dry your car. Then you can proceed to the vacuums, and they have about 2 dozen vacuum cleaners that are set up. Sometimes they will have pressure on the hose, sometimes they won't. I think everybody knows that, if you're vacuuming your car and you suck a piece of paper up in it or something like that, or maybe some pet hair or something like that, it can stop the hose up, which will restrict the suction of the hose. And that's acceptable. But for the most part, you get a fairly decent vacuum, if you will. They are strong on certain islands that you go to, and some of them don't work at all. They're very, very noisy. But they, again, they will do about, a half-ass job as far as vacuuming your carpet. One of the things that Take 5 Car Wash does not tell you on that website is that you have to get out and do this yourself. If there's no operator at the end of the tunnel, you basically have to pull over into one of the vacuum islands, and they have this. It looks like an oversized tool chest, if you will, that has a bunch of blue rags that are stacked on a 6, 7, 8 different shelves, and they have these products that they use, claiming that it's their own formula, but yet they have Armor All seals and logos on the bottles. They are basically used to clean your windshield. They are also used to clean the interior of the car, such as the doors, the dash of your vehicle, the plastic coating where your speedometer, your fuel gauge, and all of your seatbelt lights and all that can come on when they're not fastened, just things like that. And it does a fairly good job. I will say that I have used the glass cleaner product, and it's excellent. It doesn't have a very strong ammonia smell to it, and it does clean the glass very well. However, the interior product is not that well. It doesn't work well, or at least it didn't work well for me. It's kind of a greasy film when you get through using it, so it's not really that well. Another thing that you find out, and you kind of have to find this out on your own after you get the car wash, is that if you go to get one of these rags and go to wipe your windshield, and they're chamois, basically chamois rags. They're all wet. You never can find a dry one. There's an old can. It's a yellow 55-gallon barrel that sits out just as you come out of the car wash tunnel. It has a big hole cut in it, and it's where you're supposed to put the towels and then discard them for them to be washed. Now, we sent an individual into close to this area, and he had to sit there quite a while. And basically, what he reported to us, and he's a very reliable individual, is that they were dumping the rags out of the yellow 55-gallon bucket, if you will, onto the ground. They were at that point in time folding these chamois towels up and putting them back on the shelf. Now, there is a washing machine at all their locations, along with a dryer at the end of the tunnel. But I believe, from what we can gather, that is what they are using to wipe your car down, and it's the same blue chamois towels. But if I had to guess on this, ladies and gentlemen, I would say that their towels are dry when they're wiping your vehicle down. We also can report to you, and I don't know about any other location as far as Take Five is concerned. We also can confirm to you, even if you're paying the $30, which is the most expensive package they have, the ceramic coating and all this other stuff that they claim that they're doing. Try it yourself. Go through the tunnel. Pay for the most expensive package, and you'll see that when you come out of that tunnel again. I talked about it earlier. They do about a half-ass job as far as drying your vehicle with the chamois. But if you happen to pull over into the vacuum aisle and get out and look, your vehicle is spotty. They apparently are advertising a product either that is not working as they say it's working, or it's just straight up fraudulent advertising. We have been told in the course of our investigation at this particular location, we were not able to confirm this information, but one of the ex-employees did mention that they were watering down the product to where it would last longer. You're hearing things like this about a car wash system that is supposed to be, something that the Amarillo citizens really need, because, ladies and gentlemen, up here, we get a lot of snow this time of the year. And then you have to go through what is called the snow melt. And you have the slush and all that as everything begins to thaw, or the brine begins taking effect from TxDOT up on the interstates, and that stuff gets on your vehicle, and it basically makes your vehicle look extremely dirty. So, what do folks in Amarillo start doing when this happens? Well, they wait until the weather is good. They wait till it's a little bit warmer outside, and they start going through Take Five car washes, and only to come to find out that their vehicles are not being cleaned properly. There was one complaint. I'll go back to that page right quick, through the Better Business Bureau here in Amarillo, where that complaint was levied against Take Five, that she had to run her vehicle 3 times through the same car wash and then still had to get out and wipe out the back of her car. Her license plate was not being cleaned. Her tail lights were not being cleaned. The back end of her SUV was still dirty, and lodged a complaint with the BBB here in Amarillo to try to find out, what the deal was with that. She had also mentioned, and I'm not going to mention her name. You can go on the page and read it yourself. She was basically demanding a refund because her vehicle was not getting clean. And, really, you can't blame the woman. I mean, she's spending her hard earned money wherever she may work. And she's going up there, or he's going up there, or consumers are going up there, if you will, and they're paying money for services that are not being basically fulfilled. And then the problem is, they can't get in contact with anybody because everything has to be done by email through the corporate. Folks, this is wrong. I mean, I don't care how you look at this, ladies and gentlemen, this is wrong. And I said it at the beginning of the show, when you and I as the consumer, we're spending our hard-earned dollar for a service, in this case, running through Take Five Car Wash, whether it be on Coulter, whether it be on Georgia, and we're not getting what we're paying for. And as humans, you go up, you try to find who the manager is on duty, is what we're being told on some of these complaints, some of these folks that we've talked to, the BBB that we've talked to. And they're basically, everybody's telling us the same thing, that the manager shrugs them off. They says that you need to call the corporate office, and then he walks back inside to where he's in a restricted area that you can't get into. And then you have to wait. Stays on your mind all day. It rides on your mind. You can't get anything done because you want to talk to somebody about this. You finally get home. You finally get on your computer and send these people an email. For what? You're not getting any response from them because they do not want to deal with you. They will not leave their telephone number. And the number that they have listed on the web page, the corporate site, is again a guy in reverb mode on a speakerphone that tells you the same thing that the manager told you earlier in the day, that you have to contact them by email. And it's frustrating because you wait 2 or 3 days, you don't hear anything back. People get aggravated. And then the next thing you know, they're filing complaints with the BBB. They're having their credit card charges reversed at their local bank. And it's just a big ordeal, folks, that doesn't have to happen if customer service would stop their email and answer a telephone and talk to someone. I said it at the beginning of the program, that a lot of businesses are going to this because they do not want to deal with you. Okay. As I said earlier, they don't want to deal with listening to somebody getting into a profane laced tirade against them because they simply don't want to admit there's a problem. And you're seeing a lot of businesses do this because, folks, like I said at the beginning of the chat here, of this podcast, is that a lot of businesses, including Take Five Car Wash, are going to this method of contact through email only because, number one, they don't have to listen to your voice. They don't have to listen to what you say. And number two, with email, it's dead quiet and they can respond whenever they want to respond. There is no time limit for them to respond. And then if you're lucky enough to have anybody respond to your email, it's not going to be to your satisfaction. And they know this. And they have got you right where they want you, is to go through email where they know that you can't physically call them, you cannot contact them, you don't have anywhere to go knock on their door and speak your mind to them. And they know this, and they've got you exactly where they want you. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you that that is a piss poor way to do business with the consumer out there. And I'll tell you why I say that. We live in a different generation of time. And I've talked about this on prior episodes of the podcast. Back in the time when I grew up, we didn't know what the internet was. We didn't know what email was. If somebody wanted to communicate with somebody, they picked up the telephone and they dialed numbers. Now that we're in this new generation of time, they have figured out how to avoid the stress and how to basically avoid you, the consumer, by not taking your telephone calls. So they take advantage of email, which I think is a load of garbage. You know, if you want to resolve a complaint with somebody, you either meet that person in person or you pick up the telephone and you listen to what they have to say. No, in this case, you have what is known as the keyboard warriors. These are the people that really don't have, and I could use the word guts, but that's really the wrong word to use. They don't have what is called, more than likely, the education to deal with people in circumstances like this. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, welcome to life. Welcome to life on earth. This place has never been a bed of roses, and it never will be. But you have those type of people, and I hate to say this on this podcast, from what I have read with the Better Business Bureau locally here in Amarillo, the comments and statements that local people in Amarillo have told us, and from just different people in general coming in and out of Take 5 Car Wash, it's absolutely a joke. These people, we have also, and we're talking about the employees at Take 5 Car Wash. Now, according to an additional note in our investigation, we only found out when asked the question, how much do these employees start off at per hour working at the car wash? $12 an hour, ladies and gentlemen. 12 bucks an hour. So, folks, you have to look at this from a different perspective. You go out and you get a dirty vehicle and you want to find a car wash for your vehicle. You want to clean up your vehicle, and you pull in to Take 5 Car Wash on Georgia Street in Amarillo, Texas. And the employee is only making $11, $12 an hour. Ask yourself, what more can you expect? You've got mainly a bunch of kids working at a car wash. They're only making $11, $12 an hour. Hell, you can't even pay your bills on that. Okay? So, folks, what kind of service can you expect a teenager or an adolescent, possibly a young man, maybe 17, 18 years old, and he's only drawing $12 an hour, well, you can't expect much service to start off with. And that's generally, you can look at that from several different ways. But one of the ways that you could also look at it is that's a cheap company, cheap labor, cheap products. And are all of these BBB complaints actually accurate by what you are reading? More than likely, yes, folks. More than likely, yes. It's not going to be, you have to look at it like this, too. You've got all these complaints lodged against Take 5 Car Wash, and we'll go back again and tell you 742 complaints have been filed against and that's just here in Amarillo. There's too many of them to actually sit down for a day or two and calculate exactly how many that they have complaints have been filed against these people across the board. But just here in Amarillo, 742 complaints have been filed against Take 5 Car Wash since they have been opened in 2015. That's 11 years. 22 complaints filed against that business have not been resolved. And Take 5 Car Wash, and this is the corporate, have failed to respond to 42 complaints to date against their business. More than likely, when the BBB is putting this on their webpage, they are also having to go through the same procedure. They're having to email. They're having to send a submit ticket through email to Charlotte, North Carolina corporate headquarters. They're not getting any response. Folks, that should tell you something right there. There is something wrong here. Why Take 5 Car Wash is not responding to customer complaints? It makes you think, do they really care about their customers? Do they really care about making an impact in the Amarillo community? Well, obviously not if they have an F rating from the local BBB. You know, F is failure. It doesn't appear like that they're even trying at this point in time to even try to correct what they have wronged people, because you don't see any more additional complaints from a recent time period of anyone that is reporting anything good about them. It's all negative, and it continues to be negative, and it continues to be recent time. So then you have to ask yourself, well, maybe there is one thing and one thing only they care about, and that's your credit card. That's your money. Well, this has not been fully resolved, and the way that Take 5 Car Wash is going about things, this is, in my personal opinion, and we'll even call it my professional opinion as well, folks, this is one way you can run yourself completely out of business. You've got to take care of the customer. You have got to be able, and it's okay if you don't want them calling you and burning your phone lines up with complaints. Folks, that's okay. What is not okay is for you to put in a submission ticket device on your web page that is linked to your email address. Allow a customer to speak whatever their complaint is, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's mediocre, whether it's neutral, whatever the case may be, and then you fail to respond to their concerns. That is bad for business. And as a professional podcaster, as for someone that has been in the media, the press, for decades, I can tell you that if you continue getting these complaints levied against you, you're going to dig a hole so deep you cannot get out of it. This is absolutely wrong. And the people of Amarillo are right on this when they're speaking up. These people are frustrated. These people are not understanding why you are, and we're talking about Take Five Car Wash. They're not understanding why you are billing their credit cards. You know, they're on auto draft, which is once a month. But yet, some customers are complaining that they're receiving multiple deductions on their credit cards. Some customers, the consumers, are reporting that, yes, after the BBB got involved, some of them did receive a refund back to their card, and more than likely, you lost a customer and they'll never come back, and you can't blame them. Where the other ones are saying, even with BBB intervention, they still can't get a refund to their card. And then they're having to go through the headache of going to their bank, canceling that card, getting another card, changing their account numbers, their routing numbers, whatever they're having to do. And Take Five Car Wash is only doing this to themselves because, well, you don't have any positive reviews lately. As a matter of fact, looking back, you don't have any positive reviews in quite some time. From this point speaking, it would Take Five Car Wash here in Amarillo, Coulter, and Georgia. It would take you quite some time to get that F rating off of your business. You know, you folks ought to be ashamed of yourself. You really and truly should be ashamed to be in business doing what you're doing, barely paying above minimum wage to people that are getting out in the heat, the freezing weather, wiping down cars, and you only pay them $11 or $12 an hour. You know what? That is absolutely pathetic. The cost of food is up. All groceries, meats, everything across the board is up. And you only want to pay people $11, $12 an hour. And you'll notice, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever visit one of these locations here in Amarillo, you don't have anybody of the adult stature, if you will, 30, 40, 50 years old working in a place like this. It's always teenagers and whatever they do with the money, living with mom and daddy, maybe paying some of their college tuition, or maybe paying some of their bungalow or apartment rent. You just don't see older adults working in an establishment like this because they know that you can't survive and pay your bills and your utilities every month at $11 or $12 an hour. That's why they shun away from it. The older generation has more sense. So, in closing to the podcast, I would like to say this to Take Five Car Wash. If you happen to be listening to this podcast, or you folks out there can pass this along to anybody you know that works there. Why people continue going to Take Five Car Wash would only be because of their very low price that you would get on a monthly basis. There are other car washes here in Amarillo that offer much better service, and they have much better grades with the local BBB here in Amarillo. Don't fall victim to Take Five Car Wash's silly antics, scam, and fraud at this point in time. Until these folks can demonstrate to the community of Amarillo that they can get well above the grade of F at Take Five Car Wash, I sincerely hope that everyone in this community boycott them and put them out of business. And that will wrap it up for this Friday edition of the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not like doing podcasts like this. This was very negative, but we felt like we needed to warn the good folks out there in Amarillo of what is going on. And I'll have a positive podcast to do next Friday. And speaking of next Friday, or actually on Monday of this week, go to my YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/ the asterisk mark Alan Fitz podcasting. And we will have the new topic posted to that. You may also go to my webpage, which is www.alanfitz.com. Scroll down, and topics are also listed there as well. Sometimes we will list as high as 3 weeks in advance, so keep an eyeball. Again, that's alanfitz.com. With that being said, that will wrap up this edition of the chat for today. As always, this is Alan Fitz. Have a great weekend. And until we meet again next Friday, bye for now.